I'm going to do my feedback today with one of our health support workers that did an elective tracheostomy tube change a couple of weeks ago. Part of this little boy goes to kindy, has a tracheostomy, he's in a mainstream kindy, he's ambulant, and he has a health support worker with him the whole time in case of, well, obviously for suctioning, but in case he needs his tracheostomy tube changed in an emergency situation. Clearly we can't do an elective tracheostomy tube change at the kindy, it's not practical, so what we do is facilitate it to be done at home. Prior to it being done at home, we give the health support worker a workbook that she's to go through. We actually discuss the whole workbook, and then there's some learning skills through that they are to complete. And then we do a simulation on a doll with a tracheostomy, put them under a bit of pressure and do an emergency tracheostomy tube change with the doll. And then we went out to the home and saw Mum do it in a very calm, easy situation, change the tube at home where Tyrese is in his comfortable environment. And then after that, we facilitated for Karen to go to the house. I met Mum and Tyrese and Karen at the home. Mum is a single mum, lives on her own, and it's a housing trust home. She normally does the tube change on the floor, so this was a very different situation in that we had to find somewhere to do it. So we were in the bedroom and we discussed how we were going to do it. Karen couldn't get down on the floor to do it. We found a chest of drawers that we cleared, it had some stuff on it, cleaned it down, and we could put Tyrese on the chest of drawers. And then I let Mum and Karen do the change together. We obviously have to follow guidelines that are written by the hospital, and Karen prepared all her equipment with the help of Mum on how she did it, and then did the tracheostomy tube change. It was she did an amazing job. She listened to everything that Mum did, and it was very successful. Karen came away feeling very satisfied after the procedure, and felt she had done a really good job. And it just took away that, eliminated that fear that if she has to do it in an emergency, she'll be able to do it. Thank you. Today we're going to discuss how you went with the elective tracheostomy tube change with Tyrese the other week, and how you felt you went. So on reflection, considering it went really well, how did you feel you went?
I think it went really well. I was really comfortable. Everything sort of fell into place, which was really, really good.
Yeah, it was good. It was a really good outcome. And with the task that you did, and what do you think made it such a positive task to do? Like, what made it a good experience for you? What did you do well?
I think having Mum there made the hugest difference because she was the one who knew Tyrese's trachea changes the best.
Yeah.
And talking to her, getting her feedback on how she does it, and reading up heaps before I even went there. So I knew sort of, the process and the way to follow through.
Yeah.
But just got a few tips from Mum.
Had it cemented in your brain before you went there then.
I tried.
Yeah, considering it was difficult really. And that was some of the good things that went well for you?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I think Mum being so helpful was...
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what I saw that I thought was really good. Sorry, coffee cup. You did a really fabulous job, and I think just having that good rapport with Mum to start with, and Dad and Tyrese as well, and it was a difficult situation to be in. It was messy. There was nowhere to actually do it, and like we were talking before, in a hospital situation when you're changing a tracheostomy, they're in a bed, you've got everything there, you've got equipment, you've got skill, you've got people around you, you've got lots of support. When you're in a home, and like she doing it on the floor, and we can't do it on the floor, where are we going to do it? And trying to compromise with that, I think you did really well with adjusting to the situation as well, and that was good for Mum. That just sort of it valued her, gave her empowerment, trust with you, and that's how you felt.
Yeah, and I think her knowing that we can do it, it makes her feel at ease as well.
Yeah,
knowing that we trust what she has to say.
Yeah,
it makes her more confident in what
Well, that's
how she feels with us looking after Tyrese.
Yeah, and another important thing you said was just how, for you, you've got that in your mind in an emergency situation, but if you've never done it before, that whole feeling of, so you...
It just made, I was really, really happy after I'd done it, because I felt that now I've done it, I don't have to fear it when it came to an emergency. Yeah. I knew, talking to Mum and guided by Mum how to write Tyrese's trachea change would go, that I could do that now.
Yeah.
But before that, if I didn't have to, I didn't want to do it.
You probably could, but it was like there was always that doubt, wasn't it? So,
and in an emergency, you don't want to be staggering through it.
No.
At least now I know that I'll probably still stagger through it, but know that I can do it.
Yeah, and you're staggering would only be because your adrenaline would be pumping.
Yeah.
And and it is a tricky situation if it hasn't got a breathing mechanism. So you did really well, and I think you enlisted Mum to help you as well, which is like getting the equipment, getting set up, and asking her the whole time, so she felt quite valued and I think reassured as well. As far as doing it in the guidelines that we have, it was pretty well. It was exactly that, and that's because Mum's also been trained from the hospital in those guidelines, so you were able to follow those guidelines. No, it was good. That was really good. And the procedure itself, you clearly had researched it, and you had a thorough understanding of the process and the steps, and that was coupled with Mum helping you along that way. You were able to then just do that step through really easily. So and we had done the simulated sessions. You'd obviously remembered that, from vision, going through the guideline, going through the workbook. So you had all the tools to actually. So that was really good. So when you came to do it, it looked like you had done it 100 times, which was really good.
Being partly prepared helped. All the information that I've got beforehand. And then just Mum's few tips.
And just you had in your mind what equipment you needed. You could troubleshoot then if you had any problems. So that was really good. And then you were just so quick and efficient. And what was one of the triggers that made you so quick and efficient at the time?
Well, Mum said, the one thing that is still in my mind, Mum said, the best or the easiest way to put it in is when he breathes in. So I was concentrating really hard on taking the breath. And when he breathed in it went.
And before you knew it, it was done. I was like, oh man, that's the quickest trachea change I've ever seen in my life. It was awesome. That's good.
And he's so relaxed too.
Well, that's right, you were saying, weren't you? Because he's relaxed with Mum. You feel safe. He feels safe.
And Mum knows what he does, so it's best to follow what Mum does to keep him safe too.
Well done. So just on reflection on how well it actually went, was there anything in that whole scenario that you would have changed or would have done differently at all?
No, I don't think so.
No, I don't think so either.
It just went really well, and I was so pleased to have the opportunity to do it. And get rid of the big fear of, oh my God, I've still got to do one.
So big achievement for you. I think it was fabulous. And to be honest, there's nothing that I would have changed. I said to you before, I was perhaps sometimes the environment, but that was my own kind of thinking, my goodness me, it's it's a bit of a pickle and
I haven't worked in a hospital situation where it's all been lined up.
No.
I've always worked in the community or at home, so to me that didn't bother me.
That was good. That was good that you were able to be flexible and not get stressed about that.
I had a job to do.
Yeah, well you did, and you did it excellent well. Very good.